Good morning, friends. Vicki, I'm over at my terrace garden. I'm actually going to do a lot of work on the upper level today, but I just wanted to get a quick video this morning of the terrace garden and how it's looking, what's coming up. So today is May 5th, I believe. Looks like our peonies should be opening soon. I'm going to hop up there because I want to see those buds better. Okay, so these are definitely looking reddish pink. So I was watching somebody else's video and they mentioned Karl Lagerfeld or something like that. And that rung a bell with me. I think that might be what one of these peonies are. It's really hard to tell until they open. Like the peonies at the other house, at my rental house, they looked kind of pinkish on the outside. But now that they're getting bigger, I can see a lot of white in the buds, so I think they'll actually be white when they open, but they still haven't opened, so I still don't know for sure. I can see that, I don't know if it was like something that the city's doing or if this was part of the house rebuild that they're figuring out where this stuff is, but somebody has been up here marking where these, it's a gas line? Yeah, where the gas line is buried, which is interesting because it's right below an area that I plant in a lot. Hopefully it's deep under the ground and I don't have to worry about hitting it, but oh well. I've been planting here for 4 or 5 years now and I've never had an issue that I know of. But I'll just have to keep that in mind, that like right here there's a gas line for future gardening. The irises, I would say, are fully in bloom at this point. So this is kind of the peak of... Hey, good morning. Oh, you're fine. Kind of a peak bloom. Okay, anyway, I paused to talk to my neighbor. But, yeah, the iris, I think they're pretty much fully in bloom right now. This is probably the best they're going to look this year. The salvias are starting to look really good. I mean, these were already looking good. I wish I knew what variety this was. I'll have to dig around and see if I can find a tag, because those definitely were the first to color up. And then I've got these pink ones over here that are starting to open, and those I believe are just the same variety as these down here. Although this one and this one might be different variety. So I don't know if you remember, I had a bigger clumping up there. And because some of these down here died, I ended up moving, I think it was like 4 of the shrubs that were up there as part of that pink group. I moved them down here to help fill this in. But now I'm wondering if I'm not going to like it because they're 2 different kinds. We'll have to see when they're both open, if they like clash with each other or if they're the same kind of pink. Look, I have a bumblebee. Let's see if I can... Oh, he went around the back. Oh, there he is. Can you see him? I haven't seen a ton of pollinators yet, but they are starting to be here. So that's exciting. I can't wait until my garden is completely full of, you know, butterflies and bees and everything. Oh, I had an idea the other day that I am super happy about. So do you remember on my last video I was mentioning how this ferny Artemisia, or it's also called wormwood, I like it. I think it's super cool that it can be in the sun and it looks like a fern. But I feel like it's too big here and it's early in the season, so I'm wondering how much bigger is it going to get, because I've had these problems in the past where I plant something and I'm like, oh, I love it, and then it's just way too big for the front. And as big as it is at this time of year, it's only beginning of May, I'm thinking that might get bigger than I want because it's already starting to kind of get there. So I was like, where can I move that to that would still be in this terrace and that I would still enjoy looking at it and everything? I've got the lamb's ear all along the leading corner or the leading front ledge on the second row, so I don't want to put it along there. I could of course put it kind of, you know, back a little further somewhere, but I had the idea of what if I put it right in the middle of my little metal ball structure here. The only thing is I have some sage planted there that I grew from seeds, some blue sage, that I would have to move those. But that's not a huge deal. So I think I might do that. And then I'm starting to see things coming up along this back wall, and I think I planted dahlias there. So we'll see, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Let's look further down here, because I would have probably planted more on this side if that's the case. I don't see any obvious signs. Well, we'll have to check on that later. King James yarrow. I'm sorry guys, one of these days I will have it down and not have to keep guessing every time I show you these. And one of these days I won't have to be pulling as many weeds, or so I tell myself. But it has gotten better over the years, so I can definitely see improvement from year to year. It's getting less and less hard to make it look better. So I know that getting on top of it in spring is helping quite a bit. But I'm so terrible, I always just throw it on the sidewalk. I really need to get my broom out of the shed, which is still locked. Okay. This is going to be a beautiful little area, I think, once these ice plants and, I mean, this is already established. This was planted last year. I just planted this year, but I'm hoping that it'll really get established and be successful this year, because like I said, I've tried ice plant in the past and I killed it. But these seem to be doing good. And I think as long as they fully get their roots established before we get into the hot part of summer, then these will have a great chance of making it and doing well. I don't see, oh, I was just going to say I don't see buds on my yarrow yet, but actually I do. So pretty soon this will be pink yarrow. And then down here I have, it's kind of like red yarrow in the front and then pink yarrow in the back. Our hardy hibiscus. This one will have pink flowers. That's starting to come up nice. And then again in the back will be the oregano, and it's going to kind of go on either side of this hardy hibiscus. Once this gets really big, then it will kind of pin that back a little bit, and then the oregano, I want it to like spill to either side behind the hardy hibiscus. Down here, I'm still seeing some 4 o'clock babies popping up, so I can transplant those at some point, or just pull them out and weed them. But I also planted down here nasturtiums, a salmon colored nasturtium that I want to grow up and kind of underneath my lavenders, which I don't see any green growth on this one. I only see the smallest little twigs here, and I don't see any green growth on this one. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to replace those. I did have more growth on the other ones down at the other end, but I just don't know if I'm patient enough to wait for it when I think they're like $6 a piece at Home Depot or Lowe's right now, and I can just go pick up 6 of them, and that's like less than $40. And then I would have my lavender growing for real. Look at how pretty that toadflax is, that purple right there. Hopefully in years to come that will like get thicker and maybe like reseed around there. Like I said, this is the first time I'm growing that plant, so I'm not super familiar with it, but I really like that. In fact, I like how it's purple early in the season, and I had an idea the other day is I could get more of that interplant it over here with my Russian sage, and then I would have the early spring purple color with the silvery leaves, which is exactly what I like the Russian sage for. And then the Russian sage doesn't really get going until like, you know, early midsummer. And so that would give us color for longer in that same area. And I don't think they would clash with each other or anything. So I might do that. That's something to keep in mind for the future. Okay, so I'm going to go up to the top area and just kind of talk about what I'm going to be doing. Look, all of our nasturtiums are starting to come up in this bed, in the 4 o'clock bed. And over here, something been digging in my bed. Gotta hate that. I see lots of 4 o'clocks. I don't see nasturtium coming up yet. I know I planted them in both sides, so that's a little bit weird, but give it some time. Both of the beds on these sides, you know, I've said it in my past few videos, I really need to just kind of redo them all because I'm just really not happy with either of these two sides. This bed, I'm fine with leaving it the way it is. That's my spirea over there. It always has that really bright lime green foliage, which I like. It gets like a soft pink flower. And then the peonies. And I was looking back at my videos last year. I think I missed the peonies blooming entirely. I just don't think I took video during that time. So I'm staying on top of it this year. I'm trying to get a video every few days. So the way that my work schedule rotates, I'm off every few days for either 2 days or 3 days. So depending on if I pick up overtime or whatever. But anyway, today I'm going to be mowing the lawn. Like I said, my next door neighbor offered to let me use their mower, so that's fantastic. And I'm going to work more on this bed over here. And then I want to work on that bed over there and hopefully get that rose cut back. Let's go walk over here because she just told me that there's something pretty in bloom. Or starting to bloom. She said it was white. Wonder what it is. My butterfly magnolia tree, look how big the leaves are. And the flowers. I mean, this one's old, so it's kind of falling apart already, but look at that new one right there. Got some, looks like wind damage or hail damage. We had a decent sized storm recently. But I don't think that's what she was talking about, so let's keep moving. Oh, here's the iris. These are some of what my friend gave me from work. They are definitely looking to be purple when they open up. So I will have more purple iris. These are obedient plants, and they are spreading, which is what obedient plant does. Good if you need to fill out an area quickly and you don't mind having something spreading, but I'm going to take a bunch of this to my work because it's such a big space that will be useful. I don't know what she's referring to. I don't see anything white over here. These are starting to bloom. These are the, hang on, where's the tag? Oh my gosh, so far back. Golden Alexander. This is a native plant. It does get pretty yellow blooms. They're not really open yet, but they're pretty small flowers, so they won't look much different once they do open. Back here I have some of the tall anemone. It's like a thimbleweed, I think is what it's called. It's got a white flower. So I've got 3 little plants going around my, I think it's called Blue Moon Juniper. Oh, I wonder if she meant over here. Over here we have, of course, hosta. Oh, my narcissus. She could have meant this. These are really pretty. And I'm not a huge daffodil person, but I think that if they're mostly white, that's the kind of daffodil that I like. So I'll probably get more of those in the future. These little clumps right here also had tulips. You can see that they've been eaten by the deer. Oh, that one just got broke. But anyway, yeah, I'm always finding the stems that are residual. That's probably what she meant, was the little daffodils. Okay, well, that's pretty much all I want to show you for now, and then I'm gonna start some yard work, and maybe I'll do a little bit more after, maybe not. Talk to you later. Okay, I got the lawn mowed. Looks much better. I also have been going around the sides. I don't have my weed whacker with me, so I went along the side here and just pulled all of the long grass and the henbit that was along the edging. And I'm working on doing the same thing over on this side. And I'm also weeding out the henbit and stuff in here as I go that I've seen, little tree babies and stuff like that. So these beds are starting to look better. We've got our purple Veronica, or no, this is a pink Veronica, another pink Veronica. This is a pink peony, hasn't bloomed yet. I just planted that last year. That will be a Ito type. I planted a bunch of white lilies. Forget the name of them. Casablanca, I think. Right, so they're kind of spread along the middle section here. And then I have on the sides the Oriental lilies. Those have been planted for a couple years. They're more established. But yeah, again, I'm pulling along the edging here. Just getting all of those weeds and henbit out and stuff. I'm actually going to take a break right now and run and grab a drink. I think I'm coming back, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's why I wanted to just include this little after bit in case I don't come back. But look at all of these buds on our iris that are kind of more in the front here. So from what I can tell, all the iris, and I've got 3 different groups that I've gotten from 3 different people, all of them seem to be purple. So I guess that's just the way it goes, but that's okay. A lot of them are going to get transplanted to my work garden anyway to make a really big iris patch or 2. So I'll have plenty to work with. And then I'll just start collecting other colors over the years as I get around to it. I discovered more of the yellow flags. So I definitely think this is something related to the house work that's going to be commencing soon. Oh, here's my black lace elderberry. You remember I was kind of freaking out thinking somebody else had trimmed it. I think I just trimmed it back really hard and was shocked when I saw it the next time. Like, wow, did I really do that? But I want it to grow kind of this way and not so much forward or backward. And so what I did was I went down and I like cut back to branches where I could see that the buds were going to come out in the directions that I wanted them to mainly go. So that was my thought when I was cutting that back. Over here I have 2 lilac shrubs. This one is the Lil Kim, and I still didn't get any blooms this year. And this one, I honestly don't remember the variety or if I have a tag for that. I'll try to look through my old tags, but it's also never blooms for me. So this is both of theirs, probably like 3rd year. I'm guessing next year we're going to get our first blooms on these. This right here is an species type elderberry, so not like a black lace, not like any kind of fancy cultivar. This is just your regular old elderberry bush. And I decided to plant it in between these 2, what are these called? I forget. I'll put the name on the screen. Anyway, decided to plant it between these two shrubs. And then as this gets taller, which you can see it's a very fast grower. I only planted this here like last year and it was maybe a foot tall. So these grow very fast. But I'm planning to limb it up. In fact, I'll probably start doing that this year. I might even grab my pruners and work on that now. Because what I want it to look like eventually is kind of like an elderberry tree or multi-stem tree over the top of these two shrubs. And I like the flat flowers that it gets. And, you know, then of course the lilacs will have a totally different bloom structure. And I just think that'll be pretty. So that's what I'm doing there. So if you don't look at like here over, this bed doesn't look too bad. I've got my, oh, even those small irises down there have some blooms. That's so cute. Let's see. Oh, how cute. Anyway, this rose shrub and this rose shrub are both the Eden, Pretty in Pink Eden Climbing Rose. And then this right here is Sweet Shrub. Something Sweet Shrub. It gets pretty big leaves and it will grow fast eventually. I transplanted this either last year or the year before, and it has been kind of slow to recover, but I do plan to leave it here. Even though it's going to get like 10 feet tall, I figure it can fill in this space right here and kind of provide privacy because we do sit right here sometimes. And I don't know, just break up the block of just constant porch and, you know, window, door. And then we're going to have another window over here once the addition is put on. So speaking of the addition, I know I talk about it pretty much every time, but it's better to get it from different angles sometimes, I think, to understand what it's really going to look like. So the addition is going to start right here. And it's just going to come straight out about, I think it was 13 feet, which I don't have a tape measure on me, but that's probably to right about here. I'm just guessing, guys. And then this is going to be our dining room. And then there's going to be a hallway that's going to come out into the garden here. And then right here, there's going to be a sidewalk, a new sidewalk that connects to, you know, my front, and will also connect around to the new entrance, however that ends up working out. We haven't totally figured that out yet, because I don't want the sidewalk necessarily running directly in front of the window, because the new dining room window is going to be like right here, looking that way. And I'd like to have some sort of garden right here. So I want to make the entrance over there and have the sidewalk swoop around that way. But we'll see. I got to talk to the builder still. But then there should be another sidewalk that runs back this way now along this east side of the addition. So the addition, this will be the dining room. And then right about here, we'll have a hallway that goes into the house, and it breaks up the dining room from the kitchen. And then we're going to start the kitchen, will be like right here. And the kitchen will go back to here. So this is going to be the new end of the building. So this will be kitchen, and then back there will be living room area on the other side of the kitchen. So all of this will become backyard that we didn't currently have fenced in or accessed, you know, backyard. So that's going to make our backyard a lot bigger, which was part of my whole goal. And then, you know, hopefully the sidewalk, I don't know, maybe it can connect around that way to the driveway. I'm not really sure, but it should run along this way all the way to the front sidewalk. And that's why I'm concerned about all of this stuff here, because they're also going to have to dig all of this out. So for the addition, there's going to be a basement underneath the new dining room and kitchen. And so they got to dig down first, do the basement, and then the dining room and kitchen will go on top of that. And so there's going to obviously be a lot of construction in this whole area. And I feel like none of this stuff over here is safe. So I've got to move all that. All right, well, I think I'll wrap it up here with this video. Like I said, maybe I'll come back and do some more. I'm not really sure. I also have a ton of work at the other house. I just mowed the grass over there like 2 days ago, and I only did the front yard because it's a lot bigger than this yard. And I just frankly didn't want to do the backyard. And the backyard is more shaded, so it grows slower. But now I walked back there this morning and the backyard is completely overgrown. So I really need to get over there and work on that yard as well. It's a lot of work, guys. But anyway, I'm dragging on. Let me just say goodbye, and I'll talk to you next time.